if I get this right. Oh, right. Well, that's the best I could do. Put this here. Let's meet my plushies. Alright. It's 12:12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, a little bit late here, but, I wanted to give everyone enough time. So, alright, let me put these here. So, oops, it was shaking. Alright, so, because I hit my leg. So yesterday I went to a fair and found Tanjiro, and I didn't even realize, I just found out right now, that there is this little suction thing to hold him. So, let's join. Put you, let's put Gojo in there. I don't know what this thing's doing here, so I guess I'll put it here, just hide that in there. Okay, so, alright, if you don't know who I am Dean. I go by different names. Put those pillows back. Alright, so I'll go Dean over there. I got called Dr. Dean because I got my Dr. Pharmacy degree also, and good Kuya Dean. Kuya Dean's big means big brother, okay, and all that stuff. So, oh my goodness, I was just busy preparing all the information here. So, from the last stream, I did say they were going to approve it. This CDC director just approved it, whoosh, just like that. I think the next day, it was like in a heartbeat, bam, approved the vaccine for both the teenagers for Moderna, and also for those age 6 months to about 5 years old for both Pfizer and Moderna. So this is only for the mRNA vaccines, and I will actually explain it. It's going to be updated. So without further ado, okay, you better not mess me up with this one. Here we go. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so this is what showed up on my Twitter feed on the CDC. So it asked the question, who should get vaccinated against COVID? So I think they were a little bit just straightforward onto it. So they should have said who's eligible for it. I think that's kind of weak for them. So this is really who's eligible for it, because everyone has different health issues and all that stuff. But for the most part, they're very confident in the information that they're seeing, that it is very safe to use. All right, so in their respective doses, which I will go over very soon. All right, so those age 6 months and up were eligible. So that's basically almost the entire population, basically. All right, so, but those in the younger, so particularly those under, like those younger than adults, basically, like under 18, it's kind of difficult. The younger you get, the more difficult it is. Okay, so and a lot of times it's really up to the parents. All right, because the kids can't make the decision on the vaccine, so it's really, really very important to be honest about it and tell the truth that these are safe and effective. All right. So, I mean, to be honest with you, I think they should have done more. They should have made the doses bigger, but this is what we have here. All right. So, since it's safe and more people, and now get more people use it, now we can collect more information. But, better than nothing. All right. So, let's get to it. All right. So, slide's a little bit different. All right, I had to do some double checking and all that. So if you watched my Friday night stream, or going to early Saturday, I didn't put the doses. What I did was I just put proposed, because it is proposed. At the time, it wasn't approved yet. Again, not at the time. All right. Right now it is approved. Okay, it just takes time to get the doses out and get it distributed. So, like as I said, in New York City, the earliest they can start doing this for the new age groups will be this Wednesday, the 23rd. I mean, 22nd, sorry. June 22nd. So, now just to go over, for Pfizer, or if you hear the name Comirnaty, it's the same thing. For the Pfizer COVID vaccine, all right, for ages 5 and up, it is 2 doses, 3 weeks apart. Okay, very easy. The doses are different though. So 30 micrograms of the mRNA, all right, in the vaccine. So that's for each dose for those ages 12 and up. However, the dose goes down quite a bit to 10 micrograms for those ages 5 to 11. And for those age 6 months to 4 years old, you got to do 3 doses, and each dose is 3 microgram each. They initially wanted to do 3 micrograms for 2 doses, but it didn't reach its desired efficacy, meaning it didn't reach its desired effectiveness that Pfizer wants. So they said, okay, using this information, let's try a 3rd dose. So they tried the 3rd dose 8 weeks after the 2nd dose, and we got about an 80% efficacy rate for that age range overall in terms of fighting, I think, symptomatic disease. All right. So that's the dosing regimen. No information on boosters yet. They just approved it. We still have to get more information in. So I know some of you guys are very excited about it, but let's take it one step at a time. One step at a time. You know, safety first, right? Before we get to make sure everything works, we have to make sure it's safe. Again, safety first. Okay. Moderna. So if you also Spikevax, just in case, again, if you hear people say Spikevax, it's the same thing as the Moderna COVID vaccine. All right, it's also 2 doses, but it's 4 weeks apart, and this is for ages 12 and up. It would be 100 micrograms each. All right. So that's one component to it. All right, so actually all age ranges for Moderna from ages 6 months and up, it's only 2 doses. But how much you inject is different. All right, so teenagers, so ages 12 and up, as well as adults, is 100 micrograms, full dose. All right, so for those who are, and then there's another component here, for those age 6 to 11, it's half, 50 micrograms. All right. So that's that's separate from what was approved this past weekend, which is the 6 months to 5 years. So again, 50 micrograms for those age 6 and 11, 2 doses, 4 weeks apart. When we get to age 6 months to 5 years, it's 25 micrograms each. And the next thing is where there's no changes is Johnson & Johnson, which is second line, and we don't have the micrograms for it. We only have it in milliliters, so 0.5 mils for 1 dose. That's your initial. We're not getting to boosters yet. I know Dr. Fauci said that Johnson & Johnson should be a 2-dose regimen where the 2nd dose would be part of the primary rather than the booster. But that's still not approved as a primary. It's just only 1 dose for the primary. And then Novavax, we're still waiting for the CDC director to sign off on it, but no information just yet. You don't see the dose, the amount for the dose, because again, not approved yet. So, but it's coming. We're getting there. All right. So booster. Not a lot of changes. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I already talked about it on the previous stream. So if you started with Pfizer, if you're 18 and up, you can do 1 dose of any 3, at least 5 months after the 2nd dose. If you're for ages 5 to 17, all 3 shots have to be Pfizer, and the doses are the same as the initial series. Okay, so in this case, if 12 and up, it is still, if I can see it here. For 12 and up, still 30 micrograms. And then for the boosters, it's 10 micrograms. All right, so now in this, so 12 to 17, 30 micrograms also, full dose. 5 to 11, it is 10 micrograms. Okay, so same amount of dosage, but of course a third time. And then, because we just approved the initial series, we don't, no booster approved yet. All right, if you start with Moderna, ages 18 and up, 1 dose of any 3 at least 5 months after the second dose. But if the third dose is Moderna, which I got in October of last year, it's half the dose of the full dose. So it's 50 micrograms. I disagree with that. It should be a full dose, just like Pfizer. Okay, because they did studies, and I posted that so many months ago, where you actually get much more neutralizing antibodies if you have the third dose as the full dose rather than half a dose. We can't half-ass this, okay? Come on, let's. I think the reason why I maybe this is just a rumor. I don't know, but I didn't see this. But I think what you're saying is they were trying to cut it down just so we can save more doses and spread it to give more boosters. But I don't know. I don't really believe that. I'm not buying it. Okay, so, but this should start expanding in terms of for Moderna, but the Moderna boosters for anyone younger than that, not yet. Okay, but I see we're gonna get closer to that. All right, since we're getting an approval, especially with teenagers. All right, so since Pfizer's booster doses they got approved much earlier than that, so I'm gonna see the same with Moderna. That's my prediction. Okay, because Moderna and Pfizer, they're basically the same thing. All right, in the initial series in Canada, so you can actually interchange. So in your very first 2 doses, you can actually interchange Pfizer and Moderna. So you can do Pfizer, and then 3 to 4, like 4 weeks later, you can do Moderna, or you can do the other way on, Moderna and then Pfizer. All right, and that's in terms of your initial series. You can mix and match, but in the U.S., you can mix and match after you complete your initial series, if you want to. All right, because they're all efficacious. Because NIH did a study on that a long time ago. Okay, when before boosters were actually approved, the first boosters were approved. Okay, so if you start with Johnson & Johnson, you can do 1 dose of any 3, at least 2 months after your initial dose, and then for the second booster, or for most people, the 4th dose, so it's Pfizer and Moderna only, you have to be 50 and up. Okay, and this is only age related. And it has to be at least 4 months after the first booster. So this will get updated pretty soon. I'm just waiting for the information. All right, so I'm trying not to jump the gun here. All right. Next one. So again, not many changes with this one. So the moderately severely immunocompromised, they're gonna get more doses. Okay, so age 18 and up. So either Moderna or Pfizer at least 4 weeks after the second shot. And Pfizer for all shots so far. Okay, for all 3 shots, that's for ages 5 to 12. So same timing as age 12 and up. So it's going to be 1, and then after that, 3 weeks later, take the second one. Then 4 weeks later after that, take the third one. So that would now be your primary dose series for those who are moderately or severely immunocompromised. And then after that, ages 12 and up, 4th dose, 3 months after the 3rd dose, and 4 months after the 4th dose. Wow. Okay. So now, Pfizer's 12 and up, Moderna's 18 and up. That hasn't changed yet. Eventually, we're going to get there. So it's going to be a little bit more flexible, because Moderna and Pfizer are basically almost the same thing, even though the data can be different. All right, now, Johnson & Johnson, 18 and up only. So first dose as Johnson & Johnson, second dose, you can do Pfizer and Moderna 4 weeks after the first dose, and then third dose as Pfizer and Moderna 2 weeks 2 months rather, 2 months after the second dose. All right, so that's the overview for the vaccines. Now, I want you to take a look at these one more time. Okay, so all right. So what I wanted to share was that earlier today, I got into an argument with my patient. So this patient told me, you know what, this COVID thing is a scam or whatever it is, and I was pissed because I have at least 4 people die of COVID, and I have relatives that got COVID. They got sick. This is not a joke. Okay, this is real. All right, she's lucky she never got COVID, and she's anti-mask. All right, and I don't know how she is. She says to me, COVID is the flu, and they're not. She even told me, and I don't know where she gets this information from. I don't really want to get it. I really didn't want to confront her because she's a patient. You know, I want to make sure she's healthy and safe, as DJ Nikki tells me all the time. But she tells me that, oh, you know, these COVID tests are a scam. Why is that? Because they don't detect COVID. They just detect any kind of virus. And I was like, what kind of evidence do you have? I don't understand. So, you know, so now, because of that, I'm going to rant a little bit, and I'm going to head to this. There we go. So, COVID versus flu. All right, they're not the same thing. Please, they are not the same thing. It's just like saying, it's just like comparing a human, a dog, and a cat. All right, so we're all animals. We're all mammals. We're warm-blooded. All three groups of living things. But, you know, the way, like, in terms of anatomy, in terms of all the other things, even though we all three of us have lungs to breathe, we're not really the same animal. Yes, humans are animals, I'm sorry. But, you know, humans, dogs, cats, different things. All right? Let's put it out there. Okay, so what's the difference? COVID and influenza, so they have different structures, okay? So COVID, they have spikes just like the flu, but they're different. All right? So COVID is called SARS-CoV-2. SARS stands for systemic acute respiratory syndrome. CoV means coronavirus, and this is the second one. SARS-CoV is the original SARS from 2003, if I'm not mistaken. I remember I was in college when this happened. It was going out throughout Asia, and we weren't U.S. wasn't really heavily affected by it. So COVID, so SARS-CoV-2 is comprised of a single-stranded, so just one string, just like this, as opposed to two. When you know, like DNA has two. Actually, RNA can be double-stranded too. But it'll be double-stranded like this. So see here, look, it'll double-strand because it's gonna make a loop right over here. You see this? See this loop over here? But what you'll see here is with DNA, it's going to be like a twisty, but you're not going to see any loops here. There are double-stranded DNA viruses like hepatitis, but I think hepatitis B, if I'm not mistaken. But that's beside the point. We're going to talk about respiratory viruses in this case because she thinks COVID is the flu, and they're not. Okay? It's just like saying that me, as a human, I'm a dog. Woof, 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 woof. Just because I say woof, woof, bark, bark, gah, 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 that doesn't make me a dog. Okay? I'm still human. You kidding me? Alright. So, you know, I didn't realize I actually have a Bud Light over here. I actually don't drink. But that's beside the point. Alright. So, COVID is comprised of a single-stranded. See, there's a single-stranded over here. Let me get my mouse over here. Single-stranded Look at that. Look at the coil. Looks like those phone cords. All right. So comprised of single-stranded, non-segmented. So this is all like one squiggly line like this. All right. Positive sense viral RNA. I will talk about a little bit about that. Okay. So COVID is covered in spike proteins that help with the entering into the cell. And I won't get too much into it, but there is one part where it'll just bind to it, and another part of the COVID virus will say, "Oh, let's press the button." Beep, beep. It was gonna go into an ACE2 receptor and then just enter in. Boom, just like that. The other thing with now then that's COVID. Next thing, influenza, the flu. Here's the flu virus. Okay. Two different things. They look almost the same. They're both viruses. I get it. But they're two different things. Okay? They could have similarities. Just because they can have the same symptoms, which I'll talk about soon, just because they have the same symptoms doesn't mean they're the same. Sorry. That's not how it works. Alright? So, it has 8 single-stranded negative sense viral RNA segments. So, there's one that's positive sense, there's one that's negative sense, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Alright? So, the flu viruses rely on the collaborative functions of two viral surface proteins. So, it's hemagglutinin. In the US, there's no A, but an E on it, it's just an E. So, hemagglutinin neuraminidase to enter to the host cell and then exit and then replicate. Alright? So, if you see H1N1, H5N, I forgot. I know H1N1 is a common one. That's also the Spanish flu. So let me see here. Let's see. I'm going to give some examples. H1N1 is the more common one. So I see here, if I can find it, there's H3N2. There is, you'll hear influenza A, influenza B, influenza C, influenza D. They're all different kinds, but the common one that we see is H1N1. I think there was H5. So basically, you get the idea. It's different. All right. So, what do I mean by positive sense and negative sense? So just in the summary, positive sense viral RNA, they can actually make proteins right away, just like that. So spreading makes so just replicating makes it much faster. So what it does is the genetic material is the viral mRNA that makes the proteins, and you don't need an enzyme that'll make the mRNAs, because basically the RNA virus is already encoded as an mRNA, so very easy. Negative, on the other hand, so they need to have that RNA polymerase, and so that's the one that makes RNA out of a template of the genetic material. So in this case, for humans, we have RNA polymerases, and that's done to make proteins. All right, so proteins for the cell, proteins for basically the body, because there's proteins on the skin, all that stuff, and also of course with cell division as well. And I try not to be too technical with this. I want to make sure you understand the main message is that they're two different things, and they behave a little bit differently. All right, at least in this case, in a more technical and in a more microscopic sense. But we're gonna expand on that. So this is from Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. All right. I know the text is very small. I'm going to read everything. Screw that. Okay, so now we're going to compare. So both of them are contagious. All right. COVID is even more contagious than the flu. That's why in around 2020, maybe late 2020, basically COVID-19 just overpowered the flu. I'm not saying there weren't any flu cases. There are just a few here and there. Okay. Now, so for the flu, viral shedding occurs 24 hours before symptoms appear, and they peak around day 3 of the illness. So basically, viral shedding is you can get it from, from your respiratory droplet. You basically get off the virus. So if you're in close contact, contagious, you get it. So it's about 1 to 4 days. That's what we call the incubation period. That's the time from getting exposed to getting the symptoms. So for the flu, body aches, that's your common one. Chills, cough, fatigue, fever, headache, sore throat, stuffy nose. I don't think I've ever gotten the flu from what I remember, because I don't know if I had the body aches or the chills. And you see that a lot in children, and the ones younger than 2 are highest risk, and those who are 65 and older also highest risk. So the young and the old, even young adults and teenagers as well. And for those with comorbidities, such as respiratory related illnesses, like me, I have asthma, so I'm at risk of getting the flu. For those who have cardiovascular related diseases, etc. And there are a lot of vaccines for it. There's one, the more common one that I use is Fluzone, so I use that one. And there's one where it's the nasal one, and that's only for ages 2 and up. And it's not for those who are immunocompromised, so you have to get the inactivated vaccine as opposed to the live one. There is, the one that's through the nasal spray, that's a live one. Okay, there's one injection for the live, but most of them are inactivated, what we call. All right, and also, pregnant women as well. Like, they have to get the live vaccine, and the inactivated one, basically. All right, COVID. So viral shedding occurs 2 to 3 days, maybe less, all right, before symptoms occur. So it peaks around day 3 of illness, and you can still spread the disease and be asymptomatic. We all know that already. So incubation period, it's now going towards 1 to 14 days. All right, so it says here 2 to 14, but especially with the more recent Omicron variants, there are people who will, the incubation could be basically from exposure to getting symptoms 1 day in some cases. But there's still that gap. Okay, 1 to 14 days. And a lot of it is similar, but so the body aches, chills, cough. There's diarrhea, so gastrointestinal related issues. Fatigue, fever, headache. So a very common one. This is the one that would distinguish from the flu, and this is loss of smell of taste. Okay, the other GI issues, gastrointestinal issues, are the nausea and vomiting, shortness of breath. That can happen with flu as well, but more so with COVID. And then there's a stuffy, runny nose. If you get a stuffy, runny nose and you don't have the fever, you don't have the body aches, the chills, and all that, then it's your seasonal allergies. All right, but still, don't sneeze at me. I don't care, because you could be asymptomatic with COVID. So, and different people can present different sequelae or different symptoms. There are kids where they may not have respiratory related issues. There are adults that may not have respiratory related issues as well due to COVID. So with kids, it can there's this thing called MISC, so multi-inflammatory syndrome in children. So some people have the strawberry tongue. It's like really red. They may have like something called COVID toes. So there's some issues with blood circulation in the extremities, especially, well, in this case with the toes. You're gonna have some red spots popping out. Okay, of course, not everyone's gonna show that. That's why it's important to get tested and then wear a mask. All right, those kinds of things. Okay, so, and then of course we already talked about the vaccines for COVID. So I know it's a lot of information. Now, also what I wanted to discuss is that I don't want you to confuse with these other two respiratory viruses. So there is a common cold. There is no vaccine for it. You don't need a vaccine for it because it'll go away on its own. And the main thing you're going to do is that you need to rest, drink a lot of fluids, and you need to treat the symptoms. So particularly if you have a fever, you can take Tylenol, for example. That's the safer one. If it's not enough, there is Motrin or Advil. But if you have kidney-related issues, I really don't recommend the NSAIDs like Advil or Motrin. So they're the same thing. It's under they both have what we call ibuprofen. All right. So common cold, not as contagious. It's still contagious anyway. So most common cold. So it's also coronavirus as well, but it's not COVID. Just letting you know, it's not COVID. The common cold is also rhinovirus as well, but again, this is not SARS-CoV-2. Two different viruses, even though they can be under the same family. So, those who are symptomatic, they shed the virus during the first 2-3 days of infection. Also, the incubation period, is 2 to 3 days from getting exposed to getting the symptoms. So, some of the symptoms include cough, low-grade fever, sneezing, sore throat, stuffy nose. And it's common for everybody. It's not just children. Some people get it 2 to 4 colds per year. And like me, for example, I get that a lot. I get asthma exacerbation. So again, those who have respiratory related issues, they're at risk for it. All right, but we can treat it. RSV, respiratory syncytial virus. I can never pronounce this. The syncytial. Okay, so this one's very contagious, and these symptoms can last about 7 to 10 days. However, the cough will take for some kids, it'll take about up to 6 weeks to clear. And the incubation period is about 4 to 6 days. And cough, runny nose, sneezing, fever, wheezing are your symptoms for RSV. And infants are at high risk for severe disease such as pneumonia, bronchiolitis, or inflammation of the small airways and lungs. So it goes really deep, as opposed to bronchitis when it's around here. There's no vaccine for it just yet. I think they're working on it, but I'll double check on that. And I hope I've explained in simple terms, as best as I could, the difference between COVID and the flu, and also common cold and RSV. Common cold and RSV are also not COVID. So COVID is just by itself. Just letting you know. They have their own variants and all that stuff. But you cannot say that the flu, common cold, RSV are COVID. And you can't put all four as the same damn thing, because they are not the same damn thing. Alright? So I just want to make that very clear. And I will be right back. We're going to switch gears to the rail report. And I actually already posted on Instagram, but I wanted to be very clear about it because the Instagram version is very, very oversimplified because I like fast information. But I will show you the map form, as always. Be right back. Alright, I'm back from break. Wasn't too long, wasn't it? Okay, so we're gonna get to the subways. Okay, so first things first. Okay, so this is gonna be going on for quite a while. So this is for that 5 train. Alright, let me move this over. So southbound 5 trains, in case you forget, will be going on the 2 line. So starting from 149th Street Grand Concourse, and it's going to go through the 2. Some of them. It's only for 7:20 a.m. to 8:50 a.m. So it's going to go on the 2. And then after Chambers Street, it'll split. So some of them will go to Rector Street on the 1 train, and then the other one is going to go to Utica Avenue, follow the 4 train. All right. So the next thing in Brooklyn, so 9:45 a.m. to 3 p.m. So northbound F train skips Avenue U. So remember, this is the ongoing here. We're actually gonna go to nighttime. I almost forgot to get the nighttime one. So let's see here. Are we able to get it? Yes. Okay, I see it now. So this one is still ongoing. So for the nighttime, we're going to deal with the anxiety trains. Boo, boo, boo for the anxiety trains. They need to get their act together. Okay, so southbound A and C is local between 59th Street and West 4th Street. And then after that, it's going to go on the F, southbound, from West 4th to J Street. Also, this is a new thing that I found. This is with the G train. Alright, so this one I want to clarify something. There is no G train from 9:30 p.m. to 5 a.m. Monday through Friday. And I think this is going to go on, I believe, until mid-July, if I'm not mistaken. And the bus will run between Court Square, alright, and it's going to run through here, and instead of going to Hoyt-Schermerhorn, after Fulton Street, it's going to go to J Street, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, you know what? Let me see. I think it's going to go through Hoyt-Schermerhorn. And even if it doesn't go to Hoyt-Schermerhorn, you can actually transfer to the A train to go to Hoyt-Schermerhorn. Alright, if it does skip it, of course. And for all the G line stations south of Hoyt-Schermerhorn, you take the F train here. So it'll be running. However, F train may just be careful. F train may have some advisories going on. It's been acting a little weird lately. Next thing, so 10:45 p.m. to 5 a.m. So we're gonna get to Uptown with the D train. So the northbound D train stops at 135th Street. However, northbound A and C trains is expressed between 125th and 168th Street, but it'll stop at 145th Street. All the trains will stop there. I know because I've gone there. Next thing, and this one's going to go on through June 24th. So it's now... wait a minute. Oh, this is the final week for this. This is the final week for bus service. So this one is from 8:45 a.m. to 4:45 p.m. So bus will run... So there's no trains between Secaucus Junction and Spring Valley. So you're going to be dealing with a complicated mess of buses, basically. And I've already talked about that on the previous stream. Next thing is 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. 23rd Street and 9th Street stations on the PATH trains in Manhattan. It's shut down for station maintenance. And I don't know how long that's going to take. So that's your ongoing. Let's go to the daytime. And this is only for this week. We're going to go north to the 5 train. Alright, so northbound 5 trains express between East 180th Street and East Chester Dyer Avenue. It's actually going to stop at Pelham Parkway. So next thing, we go to the J train. Over here, and westbound J train is actually expressed between Broadway Junction, and Myrtle Broadway. So it's going to skip all these stops here. And next thing, they brought this back. I don't know why, but southbound N trains express between Astoria Boulevard and Queensboro Plaza. Also, no W trains during that time from 9:45 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. So instead, what the W is going to do is from between 57th Street and 96th Street. So W is going to go on the Q, north of 57th Street. That's your daytime for this week. Let's go to the nighttime. All right. You will see on Instagram earlier that there is that the E and F train will be local between Roosevelt here in 71st. So that one has ended for the time being. So we're going to skip that. The next thing, 9:45 p.m. to 5 a.m. This one's only going to be for Tuesday. All right, starting at 9:45 p.m. and then it's going to roll over. All right. Oops. Come on, maps. What are you doing? Okay, so southbound 1, 2, and 3 trains. Again, this is only Tuesday 9:45 p.m. to Wednesday 5 a.m. So it's actually starting it's actually ongoing as we speak. So southbound 1, 2, and 3 is expressed between 34th Street and Chambers Street. So, and all trains will stop at 14th Street. Just putting it out there. All right. Next thing, and this is going to be for this week. So Monday through Friday, 9:45 p.m. to 5 a.m. So northbound N train would be going on the D between Coney Island, Stillwell Avenue, and 36th Street. As such here. So you have to make that transfer at the new Utrecht and 62nd Street stations to complete your trip. The next thing, this is 10:30 p.m. to 5 a.m. The 3 train will actually run its entire route between Harlem 148th Street and New Lots Avenue. The 4 train will not be going to Brooklyn. Now, 3 trains still going to be express, from what I understand. Next thing is which is connected kind of. There's no 4 and 6 trains south of Brooklyn Bridge City Hall. Also, keep in mind that on a regular night schedule, the 5 train only runs between Dyer Avenue and East 180th Street. Just keep that in mind, as you can see here. So, in case if you're wondering. So, if you want to connect to these stations here, what you're going to do is you're going to take the J train. All right? You'll take the J train, transfer right over. This is Chambers. So, same stop here, Fulton Street here. And then Broad Street is pretty much walking distance. So nothing to worry about. Also, you can, if you want, you can go to Canal Street and then you can take the R from there. Get many options here. Might as well walk. Actually, yeah, you might as well walk sometimes. All right? Just be prepared because New York City's a little wild, wild west now. Okay, so next thing is we're going to get to Brooklyn on the anxiety and crappy trains. So eastbound A and C trains is expressed between Broadway Junction and Euclid Avenue. And then next thing, this one is only for Wednesday, June 22nd from 11:45 p.m. to 5 a.m. In both directions, 1, 2, and 3 trains will skip 34th Street, Penn Station for electrical improvements, whatever that is. So what you're going to do is you're going to have to make some connections. All right. So what you can do is if you're coming from the south, you can connect through this little walkway here and then you can walk up here, or you can just walk to get off at 28th Street, you can walk to 34th Street. To be honest with you, it's not a lot of blocks to walk with, so you can just get off here. Alright? If you're coming from the north, it's particularly if you're you can actually get off at 59th Street Columbus Circle and then take the take the A train, the anxiety train. Alright? And then you can get off at 34th Street Penn Station. So, they just on opposite sides. Penn Station actually covers right over here. Obviously. Alright, who's next? Monday through Wednesday. Alright, so again, 11:45 p.m. to 5 a.m. So what we're going to go is we're going to go to Queens. So eastbound E and R trains express between Queens Plaza and Roosevelt. Our train service ends early in this area, and just letting you know that around midnight, our trains doesn't go past Whitehall Street. So it'll run between Whitehall Street and Bay Ridge, 95th Street. On a regular day usually, but regular night rather. Lastly, and this one is going on right now, and this is only for June 21st, 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. So we're going to get to the 7 train, and this one annoys the freak out of me. They do it just out of random for some reason, whether it's on a weeknight or whether it's on a weekend. So there's no 7 train between Queensboro Plaza and 34th Street Hudson Yards. There are 2 buses. So one bus that goes from Queensboro Plaza and Vernon Jackson, and another one that goes from 42nd Street Times Square to 34th Street Hudson Yards. The S train will be running at this point. That's the 42nd Street shuttle. Alright. So, not as bad, but, it's still a lot of advisories still. But, I've seen worse. And there is a possibility, let me change this over. There is a possibility that, since I am not going to Anime Expo, so that will be for, let's see, like July 1st through the 4th. Okay, so it's coming. It's how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's about 7.5 weeks. No, not 7.5 weeks. 1.5 weeks. 1.5 weeks. So it's a little over a week away. In the beginning, I was thinking, maybe I want to go back. The only problem is that, given what is going on, I have to be at work on time. I'm sorry, but I can't. I wish I could. I wish I can. I love it. I went there 2018, but what I'm thinking of is next week to the week to the week leading up to Anime Expo. So starting next week, I'm gonna do this probably on the 26th. So for the week of 26th to the 1st, I'm thinking of doing a rail report for Los Angeles, because and also one of my friends, the missing Shelby, so he was telling me about, like, he doesn't really hear me too much when I do the New York City subway, so probably I'm gonna start doing that, but it's only for for the days leading up to Anime Expo. So what I'll do is I'll start with the weekdays for Los Angeles, and given that New York City has the largest subway system in North America, in my opinion. Actually, it's not my opinion, it's a fact, okay? But it's also largest in the US, of course. I don't think there's going to be as much advisories, I hope, compared to New York, because there's always something going on. So there's going to be a weekday portion, so from the 27th to the 1st, and then also from the 2nd to the 4th. That's the weekend one, so I'll do that for LA. So, yep. I'm excited about it. Also coming up, it's very likely that I'm going to have an episode of Let's Meet this Saturday. It's going to be around 5ish, but more details coming up. I have to speak with the guest, make sure everything's good and all that. So far we're okay. I just wanted to get her prepared so we know what to expect and all that. So it's kind of a surprise. All right. So anyway, that's my stream. For those who are lurking, for those who are viewing, thank you so much. Muchísimas gracias por todos ustedes. Thank you very much to all of you. That's what I just said. Okay. Now I need to know, who am I gonna raid? Let's see, who am I gonna raid? Screw it. I'm gonna raid my mod. Okay, so it's DJ Nicky Zem. I am raiding him, and in the words of DJ Nicky Zem, my mod who I'm gonna raid. I hope you all stay healthy and safe as always. Y en las palabras de Doctora Ana María Polo, he dicho, boom, transmisión cerrada. Oh, you know what? I forgot to raid. Shoot. Let's see if this works. No. Raid. I did it wrong. Freak. Let's see if this works now. Okay, there we go. So, on the next stream, I will see you Friday. Okay, unless something comes up. Alright, so on my Instagram, my new stream schedule is Monday and Fridays. And then I may do some surprise streams Saturday and Sunday. Okay, so I'll make announcements on that. Don't worry. Just follow my Instagram, okay? Look at my post, look at my feed, put that little notification button. Like, activate that just in case. I will see you then. Peace. Bye-bye.